What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story is called, "She asked me to call my manager, so I did." This story takes place 4 years ago, but I pulled it time and time again. Backstory: about 4 years ago, I worked at a hardware store that has the greatest tools at the lowest prices, and next door was a Big Lots. Their uniform there was a black shirt, while mine was navy blue with the company name in large on the back. And my managers loved me because despite being autistic, I kept my composure better than people who are not on the spectrum. So the people involved in this story are myself, an old lady, who I'll call Old Lady for short, Karen, and my manager, Bill, or Bill. The Big Lots manager, who had a weird name starting with T, so that's what I'm gonna call him, Trevor. And finally, Nikki, who worked at Big Lots, or Nikki. So when I worked at the hardware store, I was allowed 2 10-minute breaks a day, as well as a lunch break, and I would use my 10-minute breaks to go over to Big Lots and buy a $1 noodle bowl that was pork flavored. And every now and again, I would also grab some stuff that my family needed around the house, meaning that given that I worked 4 days a week, and would show up on both my breaks and sometimes even after work, just because of the fact that I became friends with a lot of the staff at Big Lots. On occasion, I forget to take my name tag off, given that I was right next door and I would be there no more than 2 to 3 minutes on my breaks. And occasionally, if people are asking for my help and they see me coming from the front with my name tag and similarly colored shirt, I give them a hand locating items or grabbing stuff that they can't reach. So I was grabbing my noodle bowl when I heard an "Excuse me, young man," and I turned around to see a woman inside of a wheelchair accompanied by her husband, who was wearing a World War II veteran hat. He didn't really take part in the story at all. I'm just painting a picture with words to show that this lady was very old. "Can you help us grab some blankets? They're over there." I said sure thing, because clearly neither of them would have been able to get it. So I walked over and grabbed the blankets on the top shelf. She said thank you and asked if they had a certain bed in the back. To which I explained the typical "I don't work here, I work next door, just come over a lot" speech that I'd done over 1,000 times at that point. This is when Karen joins the battle. "Excuse me," screech like a banshee from across the aisle. "Do you work here?" Me checking my watch to see I only had 2 minutes left for my break. "No, ma'am, I was just helping out these." She interrupted. "Bullcrap, you have a name tag on. Employees are only allowed to have name tags on." Let me hear it. Not once did Trevor tell me that having a name tag on wasn't allowed and send it to his store, nor did my manager yell at me to take off my name tag when I went out for 10 minutes. I work next door. I was just grabbing my lunch. "I don't care if you're on lunch, work here or not, do what a customer says. Also, who the hell would help some old fricks if they didn't have to, especially if they're clearly illegals?" That set me off because, one, although I might be white, my stepdad is half Mexican, and I was raised to respect my dying family members in their 90s as a child, with my mom when no other family would. I then turned to the elderly couple with the old lady starting to tear up. Note what I said earlier about keeping my composure, because I blew up on this lady. I yelled, "You stuck-up entitled cooter. I don't work here, and even if I did, what you just freaking said is utterly disgusting. That man fought in World War II, given his blank expression I'm guessing you can't freaking hear, but clearly his life was in a wheelchair, wasn't expecting this racist BS while trying to do some shopping. If I worked here, I wouldn't serve you and would escort you out the building myself." At that point, I've noticed both my manager, Bill, was calling me over the radio, and that Nikki was peeking over the corner. Then Karen looked at me and said, "I want to speak to your manager right now." I called for Bill, and with a grin, gave Nikki a look. I've known her for a year, so she knew what I was planning ahead of time. I pick up the radio and say, "Manager to aisle 10 of Big Lots, I have a rather rowdy customer acting a fool and causing a scene." At this point, Nikki is watching the door for Bill to walk through, before calling to Bill, "What's going on here?" "Your employee cursed me out. I want him fired." Bill looking at me, "OP, what happened?" She came to me from behind after seeing me help out this lovely young lady and her husband grab some blankets from the top shelf. I tried explaining to her that I didn't work here, to what she insulted these two individuals for both being old and Hispanic and saying that whatever she wanted was more important. I lost my cool for a moment and I did raise my voice and state obscenities. Bill looked looked at her and said, "I don't care what my employees do when they're punched out and not in the store they work at. However, I don't think I'll be letting you into our store anytime soon." The Karen said, "What are you saying?" "He doesn't work here." Trevor joins the battle. "Hey, OP." "Hey, Trevor." "Nikki said a lady was harassing you?" "Yep, that's her right there." Meanwhile, Karen was baffled by what was going on in front of her. "What's going on?" "This lady insulted an elderly couple for being old and Hispanic, and I lost my cool, and Nikki saw the whole thing." Karen turned to Trevor. "Fire him, you're clearly the manager." Trevor looked at the old couple who were siding and said, "Is what this young man said true?" The old lady responded, "That racist bench said we were illegals, and that white boy put it in a place." To which Trevor said, "Well, sorry ma'am, I'm not gonna allow someone who harasses our customers because of biases that may have to shop here. Sorry, but you can't buy anything from the store." "Whatever, N-word. I just came here to buy some nails. I don't care if I'm banned. I'll just go next door and buy them. They probably have better price crap there than you got here." Bill smiled. "Lady, I just banned you from shopping next door." Karen was shocked. "Only the manager can do that." To which Bill said, "Read the name tag," which had the manager, his name, and the company name. She stormed off, knocking over a sunglasses display, and Bill said, "You can clock back in, and I'll give you an extra 20 minutes of break today. It's a good thing that dumb bench doesn't know that you don't clock out for breaks. Next time, give me a little bit more warning before I confront one of her kind." At the end of the day, I got drinks with Trevor, Nikki, and Bill, and we all laughed at how that lady managed to have herself banned from 2 stores in the span of 2 minutes. Is this some Goku versus Frieza 2 minutes? Because how did the manager walk from the other store to the... Okay. This story's called, "I've given you my money, now do your job." "Sir, you're not our customer." This is not a clear-cut, "I don't work here lady" story. However, it's about a man who refused to believe that he was not our customer. I work for one of the largest Scandinavian airlines at the check-in desks. I encounter some of humanity's worst on a daily basis, but this one in particular stood out to me. It started when I noticed that my coworker at the desk next to me was being berated by this older man. There were no passengers waiting to be checked in at the time, so I ended up listening in on the conversation. In a strangely calm tone, this man was letting out a steady stream of accusations mixed in with total nonsense. "I will be contacting all the newspapers and let them know about how you are scamming people out of their money. This is your responsibility to fix, so you will have to fix it." "I'm very sorry, sir. However, due to this ticket..." "I gave you my money, so you are gonna fix this." The conversation kept looping pretty much exactly like this over and over, without my coworker ever getting enough time to explain the problem to the passenger without being cut off. I quietly asked the coworker if he needs me to call for a supervisor, but to my surprise, he responded that everything was going great, with a grin on his face. With me butting into the conversation, it finally created enough room for my coworker to finally explain to my passenger what the problem was. "Sir, you are traveling with our Air, established Irish low-budget airline. We work for S-Air. What do you want us to do?" Without hesitation, the older man continues to tell coworker off. "It is S-Air that got my money, so it is your people who are gonna fix my ticket." "There's nothing we can do with this ticket, as it is for a different airline that we have no affiliation with. If you want our help, you will have to visit our ticket office." He points in the direction of the ticket office. "I've already given you my money. Why would I give you even more?" At this point, it's been over 20 minutes of this, and both me and coworker are starting to get fed up by this man's antics, and I walk around the counter to stand next to them. I gesture towards the ticket office, and as politely yet forcefully as I possibly could, I shut down the conversation by telling him that there is nothing we can do for him at the check-in counter, and that he will have to go to the ticket office for help. He grumpily starts walking towards the office while continuously telling us how bad at our job we are. And that was the end of it. Oh, or so I thought. About an hour passes by, and I've switched over to helping people out with the self-check-in machines. I'm having a conversation with my supervisor about nothing of any importance, when suddenly the man returns. He immediately makes a beeline to my supervisor and starts his rambling again, with the only addition from the previous ramble being him telling her how he had apparently managed to talk to the boss, he made air quotes as he said this, about something. He started becoming illegible at this point, but he pretty much regurgitated the conversation we had earlier. My supervisor immediately realizes what kind of situation it was and pretty much ended up ignoring him, helping another passenger who was an actual customer of ours, leaving him to continue complaining to the only other worker there, me. There's nothing personal towards you, but... And the previous beratements continues on loop again with another addition that airlines should not be allowed to sell tickets through mobile apps, and that he is going to contact politicians about it to change the rules, and that he is going to speak to the president of Scandinavian Air himself, so that he, the president of Scandinavian Air, can talk to the president of Irish Air, so that he, the president of our air, had to speak to his employees about how to treat their customers. Again, everyone he's spoken to up until this point works for S-Air. Turns out this man had bought a ticket with our air through a travel agency without checking which airport the departure was from. The airport I work at does not have any our air departures or arrivals at all. This man was at the wrong airport, demanding us to check him in at a different airline, refusing to believe us when we told him he's not our customer. In the end, he ended up just leaving. The funny thing is, he was only going to Copenhagen, which there are many very easy ways to get to. He ended up spending almost 2 hours at the wrong airport telling us to do someone else's job, when if he had just bought another plane ticket or gotten on a much cheaper train, he would have been well on his way by then. Man, I hope that guy was wealthy, because some people just cannot afford to be that stupid, literally. This story's called He's My Son, Not Your Ride. This happened a few years ago, and features Son, my son. Wild Karen, a Karen fresh from her commute home. Me, tired after a long day at work, commuting home. Karen's ride. Hint, not my son. I commute to and from work and had arranged Son to pick me up when my train arrived at the end of my day. He drives his 15-year-old beige Toyota to the pickup line, and almost immediately, a wild Karen steps in front of me to open the passenger door. Son is 19 at the time, and was, and still is, fairly sheltered. Excuse me, this is my car? No, this is my ride, Bench, and I'm not ride sharing. You just back off and get your own ride. I think you're making a mistake. No, this is my car. And she opens the passenger side door, hollering over the wild Karen, screeching, "Hi, sweetheart, did you sign up for ride and forget to tell me?" Son, visibly confused at the Karen, who was clearly not his mom, entering the car. No? This car is a mess. There's trash all over the floor, and it's not clean at all. I'm gonna give you a bad rating. Actually, he's... You just shut up, will ya? And boy, take me home. Miss, I'm not... Take me now or I'm calling the police. Please do. You're carjacking my son. He's not going anywhere. Son having to shut down the vehicle and remove the key from the ignition. Smart kid. Hey, Mom, maybe you could take that car? Pointing to a dark new Honda that has just now pulled up into the pickup and ahead of us. Oh, if she'll pay me in cash. I'm calling the police. I've already paid. You can't demand additional money from me. No problem. By the way, what's the license plate number on your car? Wild Karen looking. It's 8ABC123, and it's clearly this vehicle. Driver, go. Miss, if you look at the car in front of us. Me, tired of this and wanting to go home. Bench, get the hell out of my car. This is my son. Clearly not your ride, so get the hell out of my car. I can't believe you talk to me that way. Do you know who I am? I certainly do. You're a delusional old hag who can't tell the difference between a beige Toyota and a dark Honda. Look at the plate and get the frick out of my car. Well, I never. I'm gonna count to 3 before I push the call button on 911. 1. I can't believe you'd threaten me like that. 2. I don't believe this. What? Karen's ride, yelling to the great outdoors. Is there a wild Karen here? I'm your ride, and it's been almost 5 minutes. I'm gonna leave and report this as a no-show. Well, it's about time you showed up. Wild Karen gets out of my son's car with all the grace of a newborn giraffe. I have a mind to report you for your tardiness. I've had to wait here for almost half an hour for you, you lazy worthless. The car door closes and Son and I are simply astounded. The license plate for the dark Honda ride was 8ABC123. The license plate on that beige Toyota was 4DEF987. The entire encounter lasted possibly 3 minutes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.